Welcome potters, we are the KY Mooses and this is the MoosePod. It is an RPod 181G by Forest River, and in today's video we're going to go over the alternate method of winterizing your pod via compressed air. First of all, let's discuss, is this the right process for you? Well, do you already have an air compressor? That'd be number one. Do you already have the blowout plug laying around? That would be number two. If you've already got these items, then yes, using compressed air to blow out your water lines and winterize your RV would be a perfect solution. If you don't already have these items, and as I've shown in other videos, using the pink stuff to fully winterize all of your lines is the perfect way to go. So, assuming you have all the tools and supplies necessary to use either method, which one is best for you and your pod? Well, I believe that's a decision left best up to each owner individually to make. Some owners will choose to use compressed air, some will choose to use the RV antifreeze through their water pump, and some will choose to use a combination of both. And if you're still having a hard time deciding which method is best to use for your pod, try contacting your local RV service center and seeing which method they recommend for your local area and climate. For now though, in this video we're going to go ahead and proceed with the winterizing through compressed air. So I'm going to go over the things you're going to need. Got our air compressor, and if you can see, I've got the hose pressure dialed in to around right at 30 psi, and that's what we're going to want to use today. We've got our little bit of pink stuff RV antifreeze to put down the P-traps of our drains. We have our Chemco blowout plug, and we have our 1 1/16 deep socket in order to remove the anode plug from our water heater. Got a little bit of white Teflon tape in order to put the plug back in. I've got a wire brush and a little bit of diluted CLR. I'm going to clean the threads of the anode rod before I put it back in today. Okay, now the absolute first thing that we want to do before anything else is we want to make sure that our electric water heater switch is in the off position before we start draining any of the water out of our system. So again, here it is in the off position in our water heater, and that's what we want to do first. And while we're in here, look at the, let me find it, your anode rod there, and you'll see that you do not screw that back in all the way. You're going to have a good 1/4 inch or so of thread showing, so whenever you go to put that back in the spring or here in the winter, you do not want to keep screwing that until it goes in all the way. You want to leave that 1/4 inch or so of thread showing. Next thing we're going to do, we're going to pop off my low point drains and the drain at the bottom of my fresh tank. So fresh tank and then low point drains, we're going to drain all the water from our lines. Again, all of you pod owners will have them somewhere. Some of you may have one, some of you may have two, some of you like me and some of the longer garage models may in fact have a third one, and some of you, yours may in fact actually drain your hot water heater like mine does. So the next thing I'm going to do is pop all my drains, let the water drain from the system. Okay, I've got my anode rod out and the little bit of water that's left in my heater is draining out. And we can see that my anode rod is still good to go for next year, so we will not be replacing that. I don't know if you can see a little bit of the calcium buildup inside the threads there. It's what the wire brush is for. I'm going to take that in there and scrub that out a little bit, get it cleaned up. And I've also got my garden hose with me here today. We're going to put it on the jet setting. We're going to spray it right into the hole here because the bottom of the tank is full of this sediment. We're going to try and wash some of that out before we close it back up. Okay, so now we have our anode rod cleaned up a little bit. New pipe thread on it, have it reinserted and tightened, and again you'll see there is space left. And you'll see what I did with the garden hose. It's all this, just spray into the tank. You'll see all this sediment that you'll really get to clean out of your tank. You just give it a good spray. And I have gone ahead and put on all of my low point drains again. So everything is capped and sealed. And now we're going to run inside for a minute. Okay, so inside the first thing I'm going to do is I'm actually going to turn on my water pump and I'm going to run my water pump dry. I'm going to do this for about 30 seconds to a minute. Your SureFlow water pumps, they are diaphragm type pumps. They are no longer impellers. They are able to run completely dry without damage. And if you have any worries, they also have a 200-degree thermal shut-off switch that will disable them if there was a problem. But what we're going to do is run the pump and get any water that's in the pump out. So you'll hear my pump is on, and I'm just going to turn it on and run that for about a minute or so, just to clean out any water that's actually in the pump itself. That way it's winterized. Okay, inside with the water pump off, left it on again for like a minute or so to help bleed out the water pump. And I've come outside now. I've got my hose at 30 psi connected to the water blowout piece, and then it's put into my city water connection. And now we're going to go inside and start doing each of our lines individually. Okay, we're inside, and since we're in here, we're going to do a little bit of other winter housekeeping. We're going to take the batteries out of our smoke alarm and propane detector. And also we're going to make sure the latch on our fridge is set to hold our fridge door open for the winter. And we got some baking soda in there to keep it nice and fresh during the time. And again, you'll notice that my bed is not all torn apart this year in order to winterize. I'm not flipping any bypass valves. I'm letting the compressed air run straight through the water heater and straight through all the lines. So again, now we're under pressure. We're going to come in and start. Cold water. And we're going to let it go. And you already see the water coming out there. And you'll see it's coming out in kind of a aerated kind of mist. You're going to get things kind of wet here, but that's what we're looking for, is that aerated water to be coming out. So we're going to leave this running about 3 to 4 minutes or so on each line. And then we'll proceed to the hot. Then we'll proceed to the toilet. We'll proceed to the shower. We'll do hot and cold in shower. And for those of us garage owners, I will go outside and do hot and cold on the garage sink faucet. You'll see now already it's starting to cut down a little bit. A little bit more spray. You'll hear my air compressors kick back on and repressurizing the tank. Like I said, we're just going to let this go, and then we'll do the next line up. Okay, we're back to the cold tap here for a minute. Let me just show you. I've had it running, blowing out for a few minutes now, and you can see it makes a nice little mist and sprays everything. But how I'm going to judge if this has gone long enough after a few minutes, I can put my hand underneath there. Well, when you know, as soon as I do it, you see it, water actually come out and start misting me. But what we're going to do is we're going to put our hand underneath there just to see that there's no more mist coming out. So since I just saw a little bit, let's go 1 more minute before I switch over to hot. Okay, so I finished up my cold, and it's been another 4 or 5 minutes or so, and I'm finishing up my hot line now. And this is what I intended to show you before. There's hands not getting wet. We're going to go on and shut off the hot at this point. And again, like I said, I'm going to clean up some of the spray here. But I'm going to head into the shower. I'm going to start with my shower and do the hot and cold. I'll just do those right down the toilet. And then after that, I'll pop my toilet open and leave that. Let that run a few minutes too. And depending on how clean the bathroom is, I may or may not show you that. So we'll see. So again, as I said, we're going to do the shower next. I got the hot running right now. Just running into the toilet bowl. And that is just about finished up. So I'm going to hot off. I'm actually going to let the tank build up pressure again real quick, just in case you can't hear me with the sound being muffled by the bathroom here. Okay, so now it's a bit quieter again. Just finished the hot. So I'm going to go on and do the cold. And then I'm going to do the toilet after that. And again, since I'm a garage owner, I'm going to go out and do the hot and cold lines on my garage last. And then we'll come back in after that. Okay, we're back from the garage doing the spraying out there the hot and cold clearing lines. So I've come back in now. And I've done about a cup or so of the RV Marine antifreeze down the sink P-trap, down my shower P-trap. Put a little bit in the toilet there just to keep that rubber seal there wet during the winter. And again, garage owners, make sure you do your sink in the back. Put a little bit down there. And just to show you, we've gone through and done everything. Just to show you, gonna turn this on, and absolutely no water, nothing but air at this point from cold. Nothing but air coming through now and hot. No spluttering anymore, so we'll consider us all good and water free at this point. Okay, here at the end, I've gone through and closed my gate valves on my black and gray tank. There's a little bit of residual pink stuff sitting at the bottom of those. Turned off my compressor, got my blowout plug out, closed up my water heater. Again, you can see a lot of that limescale and sediment that will come out of that fresh water tank if you, or your hot water heater if you give it a good cleaning each year. I did pop my low point drains again while I still had a little bit of pressure in the line, and you can see it did spit out a few drops of water. But I did that just to relieve the pressure and take out any little droplets that were left, but we seem to be pretty good. Here in closing, make sure you do something with your battery during the winter, keep it charged somehow. Keyless entry users, make sure you get your batteries out of there as well. Those of you with black tank flushes, you don't need to worry about those. They are there's a check valve on the other side that's got a gravity ball in it. So any water that doesn't go into your black tank whenever you're flushing will drain back out. So you don't need to worry about that. And we're just about done there. Make sure you shut all your windows, lock everything up, and you're good for the winter. We will see all of you in spring at some rallies, hopefully. This is MoosePod out.